Hello everyone, welcome to London's Social Economy. My name is Anja Vashis. I'm going to be your host for this event. We are here in front of Pathway Skill Development in London, Ontario. Now, we chose this venue for a very special reason. Pathway Skill Development is a charity that supports people to gain access to skills and employment, but they do it in a very special way, social enterprise. So, they have a social enterprise called BuildWorks that does renovations and actually renovated this brand new facility for them. So, we're going to go check it out, but we're also going to see the power of social enterprise in action. So come on, let's go.
My dream is that someday the social economy is not the social economy, but it's just the economy. Because every business, I think business has the potential to, the biggest potential, to be able to have an impact on some of our most challenging problems that we have today. And so I think business has the biggest opportunity to do that. And I look forward to a day where every business addresses not only profit, but people and planet as well. And so that's what we're here to do today. We've seen a huge growth in this sector of the social economy. And all of you are a part of that, but not only here in London, Ontario, but this is a movement that's happening all around the world.
The world is changing, and so I think that's what we need to kind of contextualize why this is important. The current population is around 7 billion, looking to go to 9 billion in 2050. We have, a limited amount of resources that are available to us. 80% of the population lives on $10 a day or less. We have, with the growing population, more mouths to feed, so food production needs to increase. We have all the natural disasters that are occurring, which we don't have always the infrastructure to support, maybe because of climate change, we don't know, we're not sure, maybe. And we also have the fact that, we need to kind of electrify the world, energy needs, and access to healthcare, access to education. So all those things need to happen. And because the world's changing, the way our capital is being used has to change as well. We can't address a lot of these issues with the current status quo. So philanthropy and government are usually our go-to places. Come on, can you guys fix this for us? But they have a limited amount of resources. They don't have all the resources necessary to do the work that needs to be addressed in order to support our changing world. And as well, maybe our capital markets aren't as trustworthy as they used to be. We've gone through many different, economic crises in the past history. But when we think about, the BP oil spill, for example, I was at an event and they were talking about that. Or you talk about, all these other issues with corporations. This idea of the long-term versus the short-term. Sometimes these businesses are focused on the short-term profit, not the long-term value. So these are the things that we're talking about. And if you want to, check out if any of my facts are correct, you can go on vergecapital.ca. We have our fact checkers working diligently, make sure that everything is correct. Something really special happened this week. London's Economic Roadmap, the first year update was launched. And some of you are participants in that work. And that's really a local plan to make our economy stronger, to make our city stronger, to make our people thrive. And it's really cool. I was really impressed by it, actually. And you combine that idea of a local economic development with what I went to on the same day, actually, in the evening, at Ivy. They had a session on sustainability. So they had, 3M's CEO, BASF's Canada CEO, a top person from Ellis Dawn there. They had Responsible Investment Association, a lot of great people talking about sustainability, not talking about corporate social responsibility, talking about how they can lower their carbon footprint, talking about how they can ensure their facilities and R&D facilities are operating in a net zero fashion, and making sure that their products are not endangering the environment. These are the big businesses talking about this. But what's interesting is the kind of the cross-section between those two. Because in the London's economic roadmap, they didn't really talk about social finance, social enterprise, or these ideas of sustainability, or sustainable growth. And at our Ivy event, it was really a global discussion, talking about climate change globally and our current government, what they're going to do about it, and how Saudi Arabia has a $2 trillion fund that's going to be focused on renewable energies. Like, this is what's going on globally, and where's Canada's position? So the reason why we held this event, because we felt there's a gap in the conversation. And we wanted to connect these two ideas together. So things we're going to focus on today are the typical social enterprise, social finance. The social economy is more than that. But these are the approaches that we've been focused on recently to kind of embed these values of people and planet within these schemes of profit. And to me, this is the best quote I use. There's a market in the intersection between money and meaning. So think about it. Think about embedding the idea of impact into your money. When your money goes out there, you invest your money, you pay for something, that money is going to go. It's going to circulate. It's going to affect people. It's going to affect the planet. And in some way, it's going to come back to you as a profit or a loss. And typically, we have this risk-reward, this risk and return equation to our money. But when you start thinking about the meaning, that's really the value of that intersection of money and meaning in the market that we want to talk about. Do business models with social and environmental agendas uplift and improve living conditions for people and planet while yielding strong financial results? Who here maybe believes this is true? We could talk about, from a business point of view, corporate social responsibility. We could talk about operational or supply chain sustainability. These are the things that we talk about in terms of an enterprise model. From an investment point of view, we can talk about screening. So I'm not going to invest in guns or oil or tobacco, or I'm going to integrate some environmental, social, governance lenses or metrics to my investment portfolio. That's really a risk mitigating strategy. This is like I will do no harm strategy. It's great. It adds transparency. It strengthens the governance process. It engages other stakeholders in decisions. But we want to take it a step further. So we're going to look at something called social enterprise, public-private partnerships. And for us, that is thinking about an impact investing in terms of the investment side. That's really more outcomes driven. So for example, Canada has launched its first social impact bond. If you don't know what that is, I suggest you search it later. Essentially, it's a partnership between the government, the Ministry of Health, the Heart and Stroke Foundation, and private investors working together to address high blood pressure and people's health. This provides intentionality. It means we're going to do good, and we're going to focus on good. We're going to do it in a way that's accountable, and we're going to do it in a way that aligns with our constituents, so our employees, our customers, the communities in which we serve, the people in the planet that's around us. And to us, this is really where the strength can be in terms of addressing our issues using business principles, finance principles, and embedding those two things together.
Hello, my name is Jeff Pastorius, and I'm wearing a number of hats this morning. I'll start with the Forest City Worker Cooperative. The Forest City Worker Cooperative is a group of businesses with a focus on rebuilding London's local sustainable food economy and food system. On the Move Organics, the Root Cellar, and the London Brewing Cooperative are the three businesses that interact, not separately, but interconnectedly, to create a system of support for the small-scale food system that we're trying to rebuild. On the Move Organics was founded in 2008. And it was a very humble beginning. It was air conditioner, spare bedroom of the apartment, and enough money to buy the first round of veggies from some small-scale producers. From there, we were able to gain some traction through family and community support, built up a home delivery program and a market booth at the Western Fair Farmers Market. And with the help then of closer friends who came on board, we opened the Root Cellar, which is one of London's local organic restaurants. Very proud that in season we offer 80% of what we're putting on people's plates is sourced within 45 minutes of London. The way we define local is that we know the producer. And it's a very important component of doing business in the social realm to know who you're interacting with and build those social relationships. It's not just a financial decision to make when you can't support a producer anymore or you decide to shift based on price. You actually know their family, you know their history, and there's more in the decision-making process than just finances. So the Root Cellar, 19-seat restaurant, cafe actually, and gained some traction. We didn't really anticipate the speed in which it did, and there were requests for more food, more activity, and we also, coming from philosophy and international development studies background, really didn't understand that 19-seat cafes are very, very hard to run. Financially, they're not quite there. So we had to make a decision. Do we continue to support this activity through the activities of On the Move Organics, or do we grow? We decided to grow. So now we're a 65-seat sit-down restaurant, full service. And throughout this time, for fun, myself and a few friends were brewing beer in a friend's garage. And we were having a lot of fun doing it. People seemed to like our recipes. And we saw this as an opportunity to apply the same philosophy of pushing the envelope of social and environmental returns through business activity inside of the beer world. So we took the risk. We started Anglophone Canada's first cooperative brewery, and also worker-owned cooperative brewery. Within 6 months, we couldn't brew enough beer to do more than one pop-up shop a month and keep the taps flowing at the root cellar. So we had to make another decision. Okay, this model seems to work. Are we interested in moving forward with it? We made the decision democratically, as cooperatives do, to move forward. Now, the hard part, how do we finance this thing? You know, it's a very, very difficult proposal to sit down with financiers and say, listen, there's a triple bottom line involved in what we do. We're not just looking for financial returns. We're looking for social and environmental returns on all of our activities. That's a difficult conversation to have. Even though we can show economic financial performance, we can't communicate effectively in that world. We don't have the tools necessarily to communicate the social and environmental returns. So with the support of, with a number of institutions in the city, we decided to raise funds through preference share sales. I guess it was in 2 weeks, we managed to raise privately through a sale or an offering statement, $175,000 seed capital for us to grow our brewery. And that was interested individuals in London, and this is a very small group, relatively small pools of money, were willing to take that risk with us. With that capital, we now have moved in On the Move Organics, and the London Brewing Cooperative had the confidence to move into a new building, a new facility. On the Move is now growing and has the foundation to be able to grow, and the London Brewing Cooperative should be opening by the end of the year with the new facility, and we'll find the triple bottom line sustainability that we're looking for.
Your investors are in the business, they're investing to make money, or they're investing to help your business?
So in our offering, we made it clear that we are pushing the envelope of what brewery, the definition of what a local craft brewery can do. We are very clear about our purchasing policy in that we are purchasing and utilizing more local, sustainable ingredients than any other brewery in the country, and they're interested in that process. It's a hard one. The infrastructure is not in place, so we're helping to build that. So they're very interested in that, and they're also very interested in the democratic control of the workplace. So the folks who have invested to see a reasonable return on their investment, but they're really keen on seeing this business grow, and they're really keen on us having the support to be able to challenge what the conventional business world, specifically in this case in the craft beer market, can accomplish.
It's really exciting to be here, and it's astounding to know where I started and where we're at, and seeing Melissa set up back there and just watching so many social enterprises grow in the community. And I have the privilege with working with a lot of them. We'll talk a little bit about that. Definitions of social enterprise. As Andre said, there really is no definition, which is kind of interesting. We're working very hard to try to pull that together. There's a few floating around, and we basically land at pillar that you're a for-profit or a non-for-profit. We consider both in the social enterprise world, because at the end of the day, they are doing some kind of business that's yielding revenue that goes back into some goodness, some mission. And so the bottom line, though, is that they're a business, and that's why it's a little gray, because if there's no money, there's no mission. So somehow we have to tie the two together. And it's very interesting when social enterprises come, even with an idea to pillar. We have the one side that are really heavy mission and are nonprofits typically and want to do good and know that there's something there. And then on the other side, we have the very heavy business-minded individuals that want to bring their business practices into some kind of goodness. And we have the two extremes, and our job, and what we find, is that we need to bring them together. We need to build the business acumen in individuals that have a heart, and then we have to find the heart and the measures for the people that have the business. And Kevin's going, yeah, see, bingo. For example, shut the front door. Have you ever heard of this one? Improv company. Oh, look, that's great. So, unlikely social enterprise. I had to think a lot about this one, and we're challenged a lot when we come into the social enterprise world. Are you really a social enterprise? What's your impact? Because if you can come back to what's your problem that you're solving, then we can talk social enterprise. So these guys do a lot of training with individuals, building confidence, self-confidence, giving them the ability, giving them a voice, and there's that comes from that. And they go on to act on stage. They have testimonials from their members that said, I was scared to get up in the morning, and now I can get in front of a stage. So some really great stories. And that's one of our impact measures, because impact measures are hard. How do you actually measure dignity or worth or pride or purpose? So in social enterprise world, a lot of that is storytelling. So when you're interested in a social enterprise, go to the stories, and we've got a great one coming up. Kind of self-identified. I think the number's closer to 120, 130. And we're doing some work to help make these numbers a little more robust. But the real story is the impact. Melissa could talk better of this, but here's a girl that started off with a problem that was personal and grew from it. So as a result of doing her own production of laundry detergent, thought, I could bring this out. I could actually make money selling this product and help people who don't have access to clean clothes. Clean clothes. Think about that. How can you go for a job interview if you don't have clean clothes? Right? So this is the kind of impact Melissa's making. About $15,000 saved in laundry services for individuals that just can't afford it. And most recently in May, Melissa had a Pampered project, which was basically, individuals off the street just coming in, getting a haircut, manicure, simple things. Here's our buddies. Vince could probably talk about this as well. To say 25 employees, these are individuals that just otherwise probably wouldn't be working. But thanks to the wraparound support through Impact Junk Solutions, have a job. And let's be very clear, they were voted #1 as the junk removal company in London. So you do good work. You do excellent service. And Paul Hubert, who's also a social entrepreneur who is our CleanWorks friend, will tell you, you have to compete on price, quality, and customer service. And that's what Impact Junk Solutions does, to the tune of 25 tons of diverted landfill. And this is why I know Kevin gets giddy, because this is the triple bottom line. They have it. And it's amazing. Our boys from Textbooks from Change, again, talk about a global perspective. Went to Africa, noticed that there was a need for textbooks in this community, and had a project, collected textbooks, shipped them to Africa, found a way to generate revenue that through selling other books that they've also collected, and also provided microloans as well. So a real success story. They actually were just in the paper. I don't know if you just saw them in the Toronto side, but have grown to 16 full-time positions from a couple of guys who graduated from Ivy and thought, I think we can change the world this way. So that's the kind of impact. So as I mentioned, it's not just the statistics, it's the stories. They had a brilliant ad campaign just launched where they They had individuals donating the textbooks, writing a little note saying, I hope you find this trig book as great as I did. Put the story in it, and then you watch the book getting shipped to Africa, and the individual, the student, opening it up and reading this, and the heart, I cried. I mean, this is what it does. It pulls to the heartstrings, but there's a business mind behind this, so we really congratulate them. So that's Social Enterprise in London. Just a small announcement that I'm just waiting to get the date. I believe it's going to be released this week, but we're working really hard with our friends in the province to launch a social enterprise holiday buying guide. So these are products and services that are going to be online. We'll send the link out to everyone. If you're interested in supporting these individuals, there's a lot to be sold, a lot of good to be made by investing consciously in what you're purchasing for Christmas. So thank you. Thank you very much.
But we are so pleased to be part of this whole movement in terms of social enterprise. And although Etienne Accessing has been in business for over 26 years, it really and we thought we were doing social enterprise. We weren't. We had some fee-for-service stuff that we were doing. But this really was a learning experience, and it began with working with VERGE and with Andre and building our business case for our grocery store, which we're very proud of. It meets a community need. We're getting incredible feedback from the community in terms of the grocery store. It's within the Old East Village Food Incubator, the hub there, and so it's not just a grocery store. We have fire roasted coffee, we will have momos, we have the urban baker, we have vegan, we have the jam guy. We have some fun stuff there, and we have amazing staff and an amazing goal to serve the community, to provide an opportunity for our clients, ATN's clients, to receive transitional training, and to make the sucker pay for itself, and to work hard in that process. So that's where we're going in it. And in my many years working for ATN, I've had the privilege of working with some incredibly talented, determined people who just needed a little extra support, or maybe a big extra support, to help them reach their goals. And some of them have been very successful, and some of them haven't. And some of it has been our fault that we've let them down, and for some, it's been that they've just given up. That cycle of failure sometimes is hard to get out of. But sometimes you meet somebody, and from the day you meet them, you know that they're going to follow through. They're going to be determined, they're going to be committed, and they're going to be successful. And so, to my friend here, John Allington, he's going to tell you about his journey at the Old East Village Grocer.
Thank you, Vicki. And yeah, my journey all started back in the summer when I joined this retail training program at ATN. That was way before, about months before the store even opened. I went in there as a volunteer to help set up the grocery store, clean all the shelves, and get the store prepared to open in the middle of September. I then went on to be a volunteer for a number of weeks to the beginning of October as a produce clerk. I did the inventory. I made sure the invoices were in order. I made sure the shelves were stocked and the customers had a great time when they came into the store and had a smile when they left. And then I went on as a paid employee in the beginning of September and stayed on pretty much doing the same thing. And now I'm mainly on there. I'm on there 2 days a week, and one of those days is when our big truck order comes on Wednesdays to make sure that it's unloaded promptly, and we actually increased our productivity when it came to unloading the truck from an entire day of unloading it to only 2 hours. So we're really proud of that. And like Vicky said, we are here to pretty much promote a need. We're here to, a lot of people are actually glad because there's no actual grocery store in there. There's a couple of variety stores in the East End, but there's no actual grocery store for about a couple kilometers in any direction. So a lot of people are glad that we're here, and we get a lot of the same people coming in all the time. We see a lot of new faces and a lot of the same too. So we know that we're doing a great thing for that community, and and we're also there to provide training for clients of ATN, people that are looking for that one step in the door, and that step in the door for me led to a paying job at the Old East Village Grocers. So
in that spirit, we want an opportunity for you guys to shine, to you guys to bring your ideas to light and be part of that conversation. And it's really about co-creation. So let's address the elephant in the room. The fact is that we all have different perspectives. We come from different backgrounds. So we see the elephant in different ways. But there's also opportunity in that, because defining problems differently can help us actually identify new solutions. And that's the power of cross-sector collaboration. That's why you see a lot of collaboration happening these days. How do we bridge today's social economy to our collective vision for tomorrow? And what's going to be particularly interesting is that you guys are going to have different visions. So find out what is different, what's the same, and how do we work together for today's social economy. And I'll play some light background music in the meantime. All right, so I'll give you guys 10 minutes to talk.